All right, let's get into it. Today we're exploring a pretty huge idea, this concept of the blockchain as the arc of civilization. So let's start with a really big what if. What if our entire digital world just collapsed? I'm talking about everything. Our money, our art, our science, all of it. What would happen?
And, that really gets to the heart of the problem we have right now. Our present is, well, it's pretty fragile. All our most critical stuff is sitting on these centralized servers. That's a huge single point of failure. But the future could look totally different. Think about a resilient, distributed network where that same information is copied and kept safe across thousands of computers. No single weak spot.
So let's really dig into that weak spot, shall we? This fatal flaw hiding in plain sight in our digital world.
It's not an exaggeration to say our collective legacy is at risk. It's all stored on systems that can fail, get hacked, or even be controlled by just one group. It's a ticking time bomb, really. Our entire human heritage is vulnerable. To fix that, we need a whole new approach.
Okay, so if the current setup is fundamentally flawed, what's the answer? Well, this is where we get to the idea of a survival blueprint. An arc, if you will, specifically engineered to carry our digital civilization safely into the future.
And the core idea behind this arc is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's a chain of trust, built by everyone and controlled by no one. And that, right there, is the heart and soul of what blockchain is all about.
So what is a blockchain when you get right down to it? Well, think of it as a peer-to-peer system. It takes data, bundles it into blocks, and then, it links those blocks together into a chain. It uses some pretty clever math, cryptography, and consensus algorithms to make sure it's a shared, unchangeable ledger, a permanent record.
And the process for how it works is surprisingly simple when you break it down. Step 1, a bunch of transactions get bundled together into a new block. Step 2, all the computers on the network check it out and agree that it's valid. And Step 3, once it's validated, that block is cryptographically linked to the last one, creating this unbreakable chain. It's locked in for good.
And it's these core properties that make blockchain the perfect arc. First, it's resilient. You can't take it down by attacking one spot, because there is no one spot. Second, it's immutable. Once data's on there, it's permanent. You can't just go back and change it. And third, it's decentralized. No one person, company, or government is in charge. That means it's transparent, and it's incredibly hard to manipulate.
Okay, so we've got the blueprint for the arc. Now for the really exciting part. What do we put on it? How can we actually use this thing to save the pillars of our civilization? Our knowledge, our culture, and our economy.
Let's start with knowledge and culture. The main tool here is something you've probably heard of, the NFT, or non-fungible token. Now, the technical term is ERC-721, but forget about digital monkeys for a second. Think bigger. An NFT is basically a digital certificate of ownership for any unique asset. It could be a scientific paper, an architectural blueprint, a classic novel, anything one of a kind.
So how does that actually work to preserve something? It's a two-part system. First, the NFT itself, the proof that you own it, that lives right on the blockchain. But the actual file, like the artwork or the blueprint, is stored on a decentralized system like IPFS. You can think of IPFS as kind of like a version of the cloud that's spread out everywhere. Finally, a smart contract acts like digital glue, creating a permanent, unbreakable link between your ownership token and the actual content.
All right, now let's talk about the economy. The building block for this pillar is something called a fungible token. Fungible just means interchangeable. Like $1 bill is the same as any other dollar bill. The technical standard for these is ERC-20, and they're basically the raw material for building brand new digital currencies. So just to make it super clear, let's put them side by side. Fungible tokens, the ERC-20s, are for things that are interchangeable, like digital currency or gold. 1 ounce of gold is the same as another. But non-fungible tokens, the ERC-721s, are for unique things, like a specific piece of art, or, to borrow a fun example, Thor's hammer. There's only one of those.
So how would you actually use this to build a financial service from the ground up? Let's take fundraising. An investor could send some Ether to what's called a DApp, a decentralized app. A smart contract inside that DApp would automatically grab the Ether and then, again, automatically send back the right amount of brand new tokens to the investor. See? No banks, no middlemen, it's all just handled by the code.
Now, I know this can all sound like science fiction, but here's the thing. The architects of this new world, they're already here. They're training right now. The skills you need to build all of this aren't some big secret. They're being taught today.
And this isn't just theory. This is the actual toolkit.
You've got Solidity, which is the programming language for writing those smart contracts. You have DApp development for building the user-friendly front ends. You need to know your way around Web3.js to connect it all together. And of course, mastering those token standards we just talked about, ERC20 and ERC721. These are real skills for building what's next. And if you need more proof that this is happening now, just look at who's already using this stuff. We're talking about massive companies, Kakao Pay, Samsung SDS, LG CNS, major banks, SK Telecom. They are all actively building with blockchain. This isn't some fringe idea anymore. It's being woven into the fabric of our world as we speak.
So as we wrap this up, the conversation kind of shifts, doesn't it? We have the tool, we have the arc. The really big question isn't so much how we build it anymore, it's what we decide is important enough to save.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. The real power here is the ability to create a permanent, unchangeable record. So, if you are an architect of this new world with this incredible tool in your hands, what part of our civilization would you save on the blockchain first?